Talk about how it is persevering in a business where no seems to be, the big word you hear a lot, and how you fought through it to be here today.
Just the nature of it in any competition or anything where you're fighting to get upstream, everything around you is meant to try to slow you up, trip you up, or even discourage you and get you to a point where you want to quit. But I'm kind of indifferent about, normally, people say like, no, don't quit. But in my opinion, if there's enough doubt in you to quit, then you should probably quit, because what happens is, I think in order to get whatever it is that you want out of life, you've got to be determined to the point where the no's don't affect you. And if every 5 minutes the no's puts you in a state of depression, or you run around talking about you should quit, it might not be what you should be doing. You might not have the level of passion that it takes to keep going. Like, I hear Rio's story, and to hear somebody in the next week telling me, man, I've been doing this for 3 months, I ain't got a placement, I'm thinking about quitting, I'm gonna tell them to quit, because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a certain kind of passion, a certain kind of determination. You have to be in love with what it is that you're doing. Like, I tell a lot of young people, if you can't imagine yourself doing this without the byproducts of it, you know what I'm saying? If you can't imagine yourself just being happy with making music and falling in love with the process of it, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. There's something else that you might be purposed in doing it, And so, I just encourage people to say, you have to make a decision, because you're gonna hear way more no's than you hear yes. Out of all the no's you hear, you might hear yes 2 times or 3 times, or you might get the pat on the back, 4 times out of 8-10 years of dedication.
Yeah, to add to that, one of the biggest things I learned in general about art is like, you cannot take anything personally. You cannot think that just because you get a no, it's because that person doesn't like you, or they don't like what you're doing. There's been tons of times where I hear songs and I don't like it. Maybe I had a bad day. Maybe I just got a bad call from my manager or something. I hear a song and I don't hear that. You know how many of these people get tons and hundreds of emails every day, and they're supposed to be listening to all this music and everything. And that's one side of it, that you can't take it personal. On the other end, I'm reading this book by Steve Stout called The Tanning of America, and it's pretty interesting. And one of the things he talks in there about is about how sometimes technology doesn't move forward because of the person with the idea. And that's very true. There's a lot of times where someone will tell you no just because of who you are, just because they don't want to see you win. But that just means you just pick up and go to another door and try. But that's, again, another lesson. Do not take it personally. If someone sees you and they're just like, man, people could see me and oh, he's got a great story, or he's this and that, but, I want my cousin to get on because, he's signed to me, whatever. That's not personal. He doesn't not like me. He just loves his cousin. He's probably getting a cut off his cousin. So as soon as you eliminate all those feelings, and it just goes down to and this kind of connects with my idea too, where people say, moving to a certain place, move to LA, move to this. If you're good enough, people will come to you. It does not matter where you are. You can be in a hut in Aruba somewhere, making beats on a laptop. People will find you. And that's what you have to concentrate on, is making noise, being heard, and being good enough and being ready. There was one time, for instance, I got a call from the head of Atlantic Records, called me, said, you have Flow Rider's next single, congratulations, you're about to be on. I was at my mom's house in Colorado, it's snowing, I'm in a bathroom. I'm like, what? My life's about to change? I was happy, and they paid me. They put it up on MySpace at the time. They were yo, we're shooting a video, they mixed it, everything. And at the last minute, they pulled it. They're like, we're gonna go with this Timberland record instead. So I got 18 yeses in that, and I still got a no. See what I'm saying? So you gotta be tough, man. You gotta really even no matter what they say, just keep going.
What I do is I add up all the no's, and then I get a big yes and the outcome. Especially coming, like I said, from my artist background and it not working. I definitely was feeling down and could have quit, but I didn't, and I kept going. And my first yes just happened to go top 10, so it was I'm glad you guys told me no, because I was still gonna put mixtapes out right now, And I just like Rio said, no is just a part of the game. Like, you can't hear yes without hearing no. Like, you have to hear no. You know what I mean? It happens.
Yeah. Somebody says no, it's like, good, that's not for me. Let me just move, that takes me closer to where I'm supposed to be, to that yes.
Be careful about what your real dreams are.
Yeah.
Like, because something I learned is like, I say that I want something, and then when it comes time for it, like, and it doesn't happen, I'm like, oh, I thought I wanted that. And then I'll get to where I really wanted to be, and I realize why I got those no's. For instance, the beat for Lil Wayne that I just did, that beat is 3 years old. That beat, before I sent it to Drake and he heard it, like, I had sent it to Kanye. Nas had it for a while. Bruno did the hook probably like a year and a half ago. And this is before he was like killing it. So I made a relationship with that. And then like after he's on, I still had the hook and was shocking it to these people. Sent it back out to Drake, back out to Kanye while they had the hook on it. And everybody said no. And I was sitting there in my house like, everybody's crazy. What are you talking about? No. And then I was just like, well, whatever is gonna happen to it is gonna happen to it. And then at the last minute we got a call like Carter Ford's about to wrap up. Wayne needs one last record. He wants to do something serious. Do you have anything? And I was just like, okay. And I sent it and they're like, perfect, done. And that's what I'm trying to say to you is that sometimes I know my wish is for that record to go to the right person, to be heard, for someone to do it justice. Maybe those people weren't in that place at that time to be able to get down in it, because the record's a very emotional record, So maybe they weren't ready for it. Maybe that no was exactly the yes I needed at the time.